water and healthy soil sustain life on our planet, one greatly impacting the other. When certain substances are applied to our green spaces, they leach into the soil and eventually our water sources, disrupting the natural balance. Although they're a necessary part in maintaining abundant crops and green grass, it's a vicious cycle that affects what we drink and what we grow.
Throughout the world, there are several environments that are called biomes. And within each biome, there is an ecosystem and a habitat. If you are outside here in southern Minnesota, you're going to see alfalfa fields, corn fields, ponds. After chemicals are applied to, for example, the cornfield, if it would leach into the pond, then the oxygen is going to be reduced. You're going to see an overgrowth of algae. When we overuse chemicals on our cropland, it leaches into the soil and then eventually erodes the other nutrients within the soil, so it makes it more challenging for the plant itself to take up nutrients. The longer that we continue using harmful chemicals, the more challenging it is to overcome those uses. We eat the food that the chemicals are applied to. The animals that live in the environment are impacted by it. The enjoyment of just experiencing wildlife, going fishing, that is just an experience that we want to save for our children and grandchildren.
Here in Minnesota, where lakes and cornfields stretch as far as the eye can see, is where a unique solution to this issue was born. The R&D team at Bioverse work with naturally occurring microorganisms that are used to break down solids, like the thick algae seen here, clearing up the water. Incorporating these microorganisms in an innovative delivery mechanism is what makes this possible.
At Bioverse, we are really looking at trying to solve problems of nature in a natural way. And so one of the things that we set out as a company was to make a solution that we could use microbials to improve water quality. And so we selected all natural, non-GMO bacterial and microorganisms that could be used to improve water. But we needed a system to get the microbials to the bottom of the pond, because that's where the true problem lies. That's where the leaf clippings and the grass all settle in. That excess nutrient can serve as a starter for algae. It can cause odor issues in areas. It also can become toxic to animals or people, or it gets to the point where nobody wants to use that water. And so we developed what we call the Aquasphere Pro. And it is a corn-based resin, so it's a renewable resource, and it is biodegradable, so it can break down over time. And so the sphere is basically loaded with the microbials, and then you can just simply toss it into the pond. It sinks to the bottom of the pond, and then for over 30 days it releases the microbials, and those microbials then break down the muck, and they can transition from a microbial that likes to live at the bottom to a microbial that likes to live on the surface. So you're truly treating from top to bottom the pond.
The creation of sustainable and natural solutions that can be used by everyone is where the biggest impact can be made for the health of our planet and for ourselves.
Having a pond is a full-time job, or it can be, and so I wanted it to be healthy and a beautiful place for people to come whenever they wanted. So I knew I needed some help, the right regiment of the way to take care of it. I've seen an overnight difference. The pond became clear, the weeds were gone, the algae disappeared. The color was phenomenal. A couple years ago, I had a wedding out here, and the looks of the pond was huge for the photographers to the wedding party. It was spectacular. Bioverse has been such a blessing for everybody that uses my pond.
A few years back when I started with the company, we didn't have a vision statement. I gathered our group together and we started talking about things that were meaningful to us. And it ultimately came down to two words: we care. We care about our environment. We care about the animals in the environment. We care about the people, obviously. We care about making certain that this planet is here and taken good care of for years to come. This philosophy allows us to create natural solutions for, I always say, the world's ickiest problems.
The entire Bioverse product line is meant to be used together, creating a synergistic response that safely cleans everything from our septic systems to compost without the use of a single chemical.
With Bioverse, we feel that we are called to be good stewards to our planet. And again, the Healthy Pond line is used to help improve water quality. The other aspect we have is the ag side. By using our products, we can utilize manure and make it into a renewable resource that can improve crop production to help feed the world, and at the same time help remediate that manure so that it doesn't become something that runs into the waterways. And then our final approach is our Dr. Connie's line. And that line is basically to address the everyday problems that people face, whether they're a farmer, a rancher, a hobbyist, or a backyard enthusiast.
We work with manure pits, so that's about as icky as it gets. But when you think about a manure pit, one icky situation at a time is how we're approaching it. What a natural opportunity to take something that is nasty and make it into something positive.
To learn more about the Bioverse product line, contact us today.